Hey guys, what's up? I just finished The Mandalorian, the entire series. Yep, I just watched the last episode and I'm going to talk about it. I say I watched the last episode, I've watched it twice now because it was that damn good and it made up for everything that I've ever wanted when it comes to Star Wars. That's personally how I feel. What I want to talk about today is why is this such a series that we don't argue about? But we argue about everything else as fans. Like, why can people not agree on the current trilogy, but they can agree that this is pretty overall what they want from a Star Wars piece of work? Alright, so what this show has done amazingly so far is it shows and not tells. What I think that the new trilogy does is spend too much time trying to catch everybody up and get everybody up to speed, that they don't actually let the stories unfold as well as they would have liked to. But in this, they took their time with it. Sure, you can say TV means that you can do more storytelling, but at the same time, not that much actually happened in this series, yet I feel like we got to know a big group of characters really well and see their stories play out from start to finish within this timeline perfectly. And I think that's all that you really need to do when you're telling a story. There's so much little shots within The Mandalorian that actually give you so much more insight into what is going on than an entire 3-part story that really had to try and tell you this is this, this is this, and this is this. And I think that is what people are really annoyed about when it comes to current Star Wars. They're sick and tired of being told this is what Star Wars is. They just want to look at things again. They want to appreciate it. They want to look at these little moments within this universe and just say, oh, okay, so that's how these people interact. All of the acting is so believable that there's not a standout performance because everyone done their job. Every little saying is just so addictive. Have you now not finished a conversation with someone and just said, I have spoken? Like, it's the best way to end a conversation. I was walking with my friend the other day, right? And he said, how long is it going to get to the pub? Like, it says that we should take a left here. And I just looked at him and said,
this is the way.
They made this entire space world feel so believable, and that's something that's seemed quite ridiculous in a lot of the most recent movies. I think a lot of the time this whole space drama idea really does get to the point where you're just watching a space soap opera and there's just too much going on and too much shouting and too much storylines all trying to come together. But in this, it was just one nice story. I think something that is very smart is making the MacGuffin such an interesting element of the show. Like, Baby Yoda ultimately is the MacGuffin, but he or she, we don't know what it is yet, sorry, but it has brought everybody on board. And normally it's the thing that makes most people go, oh, they just put that in there to bring the story together. But in this one, they've made such a perfect choice, and you can see by the fan reaction. Look at all of the memes that have happened. Personally, love the fact that he's basically the Master Chief. You know, we've got this faceless hero, which a lot of people didn't think would work, but I think it's better to kind of have a franchise that you can't tie a face onto properly, because that means anyone can be behind the mask, the whole kind of Spider-Man approach. So that's great. I think that came off really well. And as a massive fan of Halo, it just did leaps and bounds. Like, ultimately, it just does a great job of putting everything together. And that's what a show should do. I saw a lot of people say that El Camino didn't live up to the Breaking Bad series, but for me, I think it did, because it reminded me, hey, Breaking Bad was a show that wasn't afraid to make you wait for a second. And that's the same with Mandalorian. Good things come to those who wait, and there's no way I would have ever changed that finale. The way that it is all about to play out now is so interesting. I think it's really upsetting when you look at someone like Finn and such a story arc he could have had across the 3 movies, that he really didn't get paid off. But then you look at IG in this, and he's had an amazing story. I felt more emotionally attached to these brand new characters than the way they've handled a lot of the old characters. And that's nothing against my attachment to the old characters. I think a lot of the emotional response I felt watching the new trilogy was just me being like, hey, you can't do that to these ideals I've had of people. Whereas in this, it was just brand new, and that's great. That's what you're meant to do. You're meant to build these stories and these people, and they've just done this perfectly. You know, this is a situation that used all of its elements correctly, and it's like, it wasn't a Chekhov's gun, you know, it was a Chekhov's armory, and by the end, everyone had popped off, and you knew where you stood, right? And everything had worked perfectly. And this is something that you don't see in a lot of the modern Star Wars tellings. There's been so much fan service and expansion on the universe, but I haven't been mad at any of it. Like, it hasn't annoyed me. I think the beauty of this is that it opens up what we get to see in the future. And whether you like the current trilogy or not, it's done now. So you don't have to worry about that. You get to look forward to all of these beautiful pieces of work, hopefully. I hope this is the level that they're going for when they're pushing forward. There's no complaints for me about this show. If you did actually have something you didn't like about the show, please leave a comment and let me know what you thought. But I'm just going to end this by giving you just a couple things that I kind of want to see in season 2. I know they probably won't happen, but this is just something that was playing on my mind massively as we watch the final episode. The Mandalorian has done a great job at retconning a lot of things that didn't make sense, or giving them purpose, and also just keeping to the lore and how Star Wars feels, and paying off a lot of things that fans wanted to see paid off, whether they knew they wanted them paid off or not. For me, this show is the one opportunity we currently have in time where we can maybe see Luke Skywalker again. And I think Mark Hamill would jump at the chance. If we could have a Luke before he took on Kylo and fell down the well, I feel like this might be the show. I feel there is easily a one episode in the next couple of seasons where Mando has to take the baby Yoda to a Jedi, and it only makes sense that that Jedi is Luke. At this point in time, it's the only thing that makes sense. And I think, and I say this personally as a massive fan, I say this as someone that at the last Jedi junket watched a solemn Mark Hamill walking down the hallway as he complimented me, still nice enough to compliment me on my throw, but he looked like a broken man. He knew that so many fans were going to be devastated by the effects of this movie and what it meant for the franchise long term, and also how robbed we were of opportunities and how robbed he was of opportunities to play Luke. I think this could be one of the best moves Disney can currently do. They're not getting a great reception for The Rise of Skywalker. There's a lot of things they can now do in expanded universes to correct that, and also just give fans moments that they were looking for. And please, 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 if you're out there and you're watching, make this happen somehow. Mark Hamill has no problems with doing TV appearances and things like that. He loves playing the characters he has played, and he loves the Star Wars universe just as much as any fan ever has. And I honestly think that I don't care about the Dark Blade, etc., etc. My thing right here is that Yoda needs to find his own kind, and all we know is his own kind of Jedi at this point. We're not looking for a species, we're just looking for these sorcerers, and there's only one man out there that it could be, and he's still alive as an actor. So please, 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 I can't believe I've just ranted for 3 minutes begging for this to happen, but that's how I'm going to end the video, because I've given you my points that I like about it. Let me know what you think about this. Other than that, obviously the Dark Blade being in the hands of Gideon means that he either took out the Mandalorians himself and became the leader and took out the leader of the Mandalorians, or he himself is a Mandalorian and has somehow got his hands on this blade, or has some sort of bloodline that means that he can be the leader. So we're going to find out all of these things in the next season. Like, I got so emotional there, but that's what I really wish for, man. That's really, like I didn't even want to talk too much in the show. I just wanted to get that across. Do you think we have a chance here to do something right?